What's good, PC elitists? Holy One here, and I'm going to be discussing the term that I've been seeing a lot recently, and that is the Silicon Lottery, and what that means for PC engineering and how that works when you buy a CPU or a graphics card. So let's go over what the definition is to most people when they use this term. The Silicon Lottery basically means that when a CPU or GPU is made, and it's manufactured with the silicon, they manufacture it all together. Some of these manufacturing processes can end up getting contaminated and recalled, and some people might get unlucky when they get their graphics card or CPU and it doesn't overclock as it was advertised on the box. So when people say you hit the Silicon Lottery, I'll give you an example. I have a Ryzen 2700X and I can overclock it to 4.3 gigahertz. And I got a lot of comments on my videos saying, how do you get it up to 4.3 gigahertz? I can't get it above 3.8 or 3.9. That's because I hit the Silicon Lottery, which means I got a CPU that came off the conveyor belt that is able to do that. I hit the Silicon Lottery, so I don't have to worry about it not overclocking, not undervolting, and not powering off my PC or breaking. So that's why they call it the Silicon Lottery. Now, when it comes to GPUs, some GPUs are able to overclock higher than others. That's also the Silicon Lottery. So if you're able to get a GPU that's able to overclock to say 2000 megahertz on a 2080 or a 2080 Ti, or even 21 megahertz if you're really lucky, that is also hitting the Silicon Lottery because you got a GPU out of the manufacturing plant that is above the others. Now, it rarely happens like that. I'd say 75% of people who get them can't really overclock it to 2000 megahertz, but there are those 25% that can. The highest I was able to overclock my RTX 2080 is about 1965 megahertz, and it doesn't really go above 2000 megahertz if it can hit that. So I did not hit the Silicon Lottery. And another example of hitting the Silicon Lottery is not getting Coil Wine in your GPU. Mine, unfortunately, does have Coil Wine, and what happens with Coil Wine is if a game is running at an uncapped frame rate over like 100 FPS, you'll hear this buzzing noise that basically makes a whining noise. That is Coil Wine. Some people have it more severe than others. My old 1080 Ti also had that issue, and it was a blower fan. Now I have a twin fan. So basically the ball bearings, when it was manufactured for the fans or the blower, when it was made for that Silicon Lottery, unfortunately it came out with that Coil Wine pitch noise. So that's also a effect in the Silicon Lottery. And this could also affect RAM. I know people don't bring up how would this affect RAM and that sort of thing. Like, does RAM get involved with the Silicon Lottery? Now, the RAM might not be made with the Silicon Lottery is just a term. So let's say I got 2400 megahertz RAM, and I was able to overclock it to a little higher than that. So it was sitting at 21 megahertz, and I got it overclocked to 2400 megahertz. And that's hitting the Silicon Lottery. Some people might not be able to overclock their RAM whatsoever. So it's a game of chance, basically. That's what the Silicon Lottery does when it comes to PC building and this sort of thing. So another example of this is when with the RTX 20... Not the RTX, the Radeon 7 just recently released. And when reviewers receive these review samples, more than likely theirs are gonna have less issues than the common consumer, because theirs are being built to make sure that they're not defective whatsoever, so they don't have to worry about the Silicon Lottery. So when you watch these review videos, be aware of that the version you might getting of these CPUs or GPUs that the reviewers are having may not be the same as them, because theirs are specifically designed for them, for these reviews. So this is my definition of the Silicon Lottery, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is your boy Holy One,